Have you ever had the feeling that someone is watching you? Or thinking someone is talking about you behind your back? Then you're not alone. And for some people, these thoughts are so strong, so persistent, that they start to consume everything. It's not just a passing feeling, it's their reality. And for them, it's not just a bad day or an overactive imagination. It's something that can destroy their entire life. A mind at war with itself. I remember one of my first encounters with a patient suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. It was in the psychiatric ward, where a young man, let's call him Daniel, sat in the corner of the room, clutching his knees, whispering under his breath. His eyes darted around the room, scanning every movement, every flicker of light, as if he were expecting something or someone to strike. When I approached him, he barely acknowledged my presence at first. Then, suddenly, he stared directly at me and whispered, "Did they send you? Did they send you? Are you one of them?" At that moment, I understood something important. His reality was not the same as mine. What I saw as a safe environment, he saw as a battlefield. What I saw as medical staff, he saw as agents of some unseen force, all conspiring against him. Paranoid schizophrenia is not just about hearing voices or having strange thoughts. It's about living in a world that is constantly trying to deceive you. Every whisper, every glance, every movement could be a hidden threat. More than just paranoia. Paranoid schizophrenia is one of the most well-known and misunderstood forms of schizophrenia. The name itself suggests a strong focus on paranoia. But there's more to it. Some of the most common symptoms include delusions, strongly held false belief that remains despite evidence to the contrary. A person might believe that they are being followed, that their thoughts are being controlled, or that a secret organization is plotting against them. Hallucinations, often auditory, meaning voices that are not real. These voices can be commanding, threatening, or even conversational. Disorganized thinking. Their thoughts may not connect logically, making conversations hard to follow. Heightened suspicions. They may constantly look over their shoulders, struggling to trust even their closest friends and family, and misinterpret harmless events as sinister. One of my patients once refused to eat because he believed the hospital food was poisoned. He was convinced that we were part of a larger plot against him. No matter how much I tried to reassure him, his reality could not be shaken. To him, I was lying. And that is the terrifying part of paranoid schizophrenia. It does not allow the person to question their own reality. What causes paranoid schizophrenia? It's easy to assume that something like paranoid schizophrenia just happens. That people wake up one day with delusions and hallucinations. But that's not how it works. The brain is an incredibly complex machine. And in people with schizophrenia, something goes wrong in how it processes reality. Researchers believe it's a mix of genetics, brain chemistry, and environmental factors. Genetics. If you have a close relative with schizophrenia, your risk increases. Brain chemistry. Imbalance in dopamine, the chemical that helps regulate thoughts and emotions, seems to play a key role. Trauma and stress. A difficult childhood, substance abuse, or highly stressful events can sometimes trigger symptoms. I remember another patient, an older man who had been stable for years. He had been living on his own, functioning well, managing his condition with medication. Then his mother passed away. Within weeks, he was convinced that her death was not natural, that the hospital had murdered her, and that they were coming for him next. His grief had triggered a complete relapse. Living with the disorder paranoid schizophrenia does not mean a person is dangerous or violent. This is one of the biggest myths. Yes, their fears and delusions can lead them to act unpredictably, but most people with schizophrenia are far more likely to be victims of violence than perpetrators. What makes it difficult is that, unlike other conditions, paranoid schizophrenia often convinces the person that nothing is wrong. They don't believe they need treatment. They don't believe their thoughts are distorted. This makes therapy and medication difficult. Because how do you convince someone to take medication if they don't believe they're sick? Once I worked with a woman who was convinced that her medication was part of a government mind control experiment. Every time she took a pill, she thought it was changing her thoughts, controlling her emotions, making her one of them. And in some way it did. Because getting her to take her medication was a daily battle, and yet when she did, she was calmer, more focused, able to talk to others without suspicion creeping into every conversation. Is there a way out? The reality is there is no cure for paranoid schizophrenia. But that doesn't mean there's no hope. Medications, antipsychotics, helps balance the brain's chemistry, reducing delusions and hallucinations. Therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy can help patients recognize distorted thoughts and develop coping strategies. Support systems. Family, friends, and structured environments plays a huge role in helping a person managing their condition. The hardest part is getting the person to accept the help. Many refuses treatment because they see doctors as enemies. Others stop taking medications once they feel better, only for symptoms to return in full force. I once had a young man who finally started improving after months of medication, therapy, and support from his family. He got a job, reconnecting with family, and seemed to be on the good path. Then one day he stopped his medication. He told me, "I don't need it anymore. I am fine. I feel healed." But within weeks, he was back in the hospital, convinced that the voices had returned because of government experiments. His progress was gone. That's the tragedy of this illness. It can make you doubt the very thing that helps you. The thin line between reality and delusion. Imagine waking up every day and not knowing if what you see, hear, or feel is real. Imagine questioning every smile, every kind word, every touch, because your mind tells you that it's all part of a grand deception. That's what it is like to live with paranoid schizophrenia. It's not about being crazy. It's about feeling that you are always in danger. It's about living in the constant state of fear and doubt, unable to trust even your own thoughts. And yet, with the right help, with the right support, it is possible to find stability. I have seen people come back from the depth of paranoia, rebuild their lives, reconnect with their loved ones. It's never easy, it's never perfect, but it's possible. And that's something worth remembering. And if you want to get smarter on sickness, health, and nursing, then check out this video right here, where I go much more in depth. And I know you will like it because YouTube have picked this specially for you.